Welcome everyone to our MindsDB in Practice webinar. I am your host, Chandra, and today we will be showcasing our integration with Gong and knowledge bases. Before we start, you will notice that there is a chat at the bottom. Please let us know where you're from, what you do for a living, and what's your use case for AI. And then as well, we have a Q&A tab. Throughout the demo and presentation, feel free to ask any questions. When we are done presenting and demoing, we will take on all of those questions. So we will have a great Q&A session. Also, I would like to introduce Alejandro Canto, who is the Senior Product Manager of MindsDB. He will be showcasing a presentation of the Gong integration. And as many of you know, we also have Martina, who is our Technical Product Manager, who will be showcasing the actual demo. So without further ado, I'm going to give it over to Alejandro. Thank you, Alejandro.
Thanks, Chandra. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining. We have some cool stuff here, so I'm going to start sharing my screen. Click a thumbs up if people can see it. Yes, awesome. All right, so we're going to be talking a little about like our new Gong integration and a quick reminder of like how to be able to build what we're going to be building the rest of today that Martina's going to be showing. So I got 20 slides. So we can, before everybody runs away, some of them are just title slides, but I'll try to make it as fast as possible and make it look like fun while we do it. All right, let's see how far can Alejandro go through 20 slides. So, quick on the agenda for this presentation. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple of improvements and things we want to be able to talk about, things that are happening in the platform. We're going to talk about Gong as a data source, right? I have some thoughts around that. So, we're going to talk about knowledge bases. How do we build knowledge bases? And specifically, something to go about like some really niche and powerful ways to search inside our knowledge bases that I want to show you, everybody. And then we're going to talk about MindDB agents because in the end, that's how we connect the whole data to actually answer NLP questions. All right. So really quick, got a couple of updates that we're going to be talking about today. We have the new Gong integration that we're going to be showing. And I guess I'm going to talk a little bit more deeper, but like with Gong, TLDB, Meet, on all these really cool tools that I think when they came out, we're going to be like, oh, it's going to be super powerful for have somebody record my calls and have AI look into them. And then it turns out that we just have a ton of data and like it becomes unsearchable. So how can we actually make sense and extract insights and value from that one? And we're going to be talking about hybrid search. And we have this new concept called alpha. So we're going to be able to combine search with structure and data single query, pinpoint the most accurate information, but also how do we do hybrid search? Do we want it to be more keyword, more semantic? We're going to talk a little bit about this as we go. So a couple of really cool improvements that we're going to be showing today. And having said that, let's start with our new data source Gong. So as how do we add them? We're going to create a database. We have a new engine called Gong. And basically there's three parameters that you're going to have to get from your Gong credentials, the base URL, the access key, the secret key. And with MindDB, just add these parameters, hit Shift Enter, and there you go. You have all the data of your Gong system inside of MindDB, and you can start querying it, table it as a table. Just a quick presentation skip over here. If you want to know more about like this integration, everyone like you can go into our MindDB GitHub repository. Here's where you're going to be able to see all the different type of the schema that you're able to extract with it, play with it, and add it into your different use cases with Gong. So yeah, shout out to Jorge and Avaya who were like the ones who built this one. So thanks, appreciate that one. All right, I'm gonna head back to this one. So quick reminder how to create a knowledge base and remember in MindDB a knowledge base is the way that we actually create embeddings to be able to extract semantic meaning and being able to find inside your data and your structured data using natural language. So the whole process, what will happen is that we're able to create a knowledge base using the create statement. We're going to choose an embedding model, which is the one that's going to be, you know, getting the content, creating embeddings into it. So we're going to be able to extract those mathematical representations that meaning from your search. We have the re-ranking model that's going to help us figure out like, are the answers that are coming back from this, are they relevant or not? You're going to pick where your storage is. If you don't pick one, ChromaDB is going to be the default one. And we have, of course, metadata columns, content columns, and ID columns, which quick tip, trick, and reminder, this is where the magic is, right? Like adding metadata, adding the right content, adding the ID column is whatever is going to make searching inside your knowledge base incredibly more useful, easier, and better as we go. All right. Sorry, I keep on misclicking over here. There we go. So quick reminder how to insert data. Also, very simple easy command. You're going to be able to show insert into my knowledge base. You're going to select star in this case, but you have metadata columns or ID columns or content columns. Select those from your original data source, and you can using which would be batch size 200, track column ID, and that join my model there is an error. So yeah, don't mind this. I'm going to do a quick fix. There we go. Back here. Awesome. And a reminder that you can use partitions to upload data, right? Like where your database is, data source is really big, use partitions. It will help you understand the track, the performance, how fast this can go faster, how many threads you can go. Quick reminder that a lot of these things have hard limits, especially on like the number of connections that your database where you're going to be storing those vector embeddings have. Sometimes those are in the number of 5, 10, or maybe you have a really good one and can do it all the way to 100. But keep in mind that that one should like that coming to some probable errors at some point. And you can also skip them, but it's also, I would recommend skipping them. If you find an error, let's figure out what happened and go in from the scratch. All right. So hybrid search. So hybrid search really kind of allows us to be able to find the combination between semantic meaning, like are there semantic similarities between the words and the phrases we're trying to figure out, but also is there a keyword mapping, right? Like so we've seen very powerful results when your queries are very keyword heavy, or have a little bit more keywords that you want to be able to highlight in the search. So you're going to be able to use hybrid search true, which are optional in that perspective, but they'll give you a combination between the results of semantic similarities and also keyword search, right? We use BM25 on the background, so we'll be able to do that. Quick reminder, I think hybrid search is only available if you're using PostgreSQL as your data source, so which we highly recommend because yeah, it's better. So host the Postgres database, get your embeddings in there with pgvector. Remember to enable pgvector in your Postgres database. And then we have this really cool parameter, which is hybrid search alpha, right? So if you don't select hybrid search alpha, it's going to be the default is going to be 0.5, which is going to be, I want to give the exact same weight of semantic similarity versus keyword searching and keyword-based results. So if you go a little bit more higher, saying like, you know what, I kind of want to like figure out like if there's the right combination for my query where I kind of want to be a little bit more semantic and I want to be less keyword heavy, that's where you're going to go closer to 1, right? Like, so if you put 8.9, you're going to give more weight towards the semantic side of things, and the other way around, right? Like, if I want to be able to do more keyword relevance is closer to 0. Like, so I don't know. A good example here would be if you're trying to search for skills inside a knowledge base of resumes, right? Like, I want to see if like some people have Python skills. Go a little bit more um, keyword heavy rather than semantics, and you're able to find like those differences as you search inside your knowledge bases. And some cool stuff also that we have when we're starting to search inside knowledge bases is our powered SQL algebra powered MindsDB knowledge base search engine. Probably can work here to do a better marketing name for that one. But the whole point is that whenever you have a very big database and a very big knowledge base, the better that we can do the work to make the pie smaller, the search pie smaller. If you have 10 million documents and I can search inside 150,000, that makes incredible results regarding similarity and keyword search. So that's, I think, like when the power of metadata filtering comes by. And with SQL Algebra, we can make all these really cool combinations that are able us to be able to figure out exactly what we want to be able to find and make that pie smaller so we can search about those things. And you can do multiple things. Like this is where you can, if you spend some time and you play around it, you can do content like and another content and start aggregating results. You can start filtering. You can start making different type of perspectives, right? So we have here an example, right? Like we're trying to figure out, uh, and so if somebody in the chat can actually say which movie is this one, that would be great. But we're searching here inside a movies database. So content like technology, computer, internet, cyber, and we want to make sure that it's a generated thriller and rating it's 7 or higher, or we want the genre to be sci-fi and the rating to be 6% or higher, or we want expanded genres like action and ratings around 6.5. So kind of be able to figure out like of all the different pies you're going to search inside of them and bring all those results, aggregate them, re-rank them, and give you the best result, which I'm going to see somebody posted anything in the chat. Swordfish, good call, Calvin, but I think it was The Matrix. Right. All right. I think I just went over real quick. And last thing before we actually go to the fun stuff that Martina's going to be showing, are agents, right? Like in MindsDB, of course, we have this agent that follow the React framework, but most importantly, that allows you to start having natural natural conversations with your data. And there's basically three different things that we're going to come in this create my agent statement. You're going to use the model that you're going to be using. Yeah, in this case, we're using Google Gemini 2.0 Flash, getting your API key in there, and then insert your data. And this is what it gets really fun, right? Because you can do either knowledge bases, as we're going to create, like around the different type of perspectives, or we can use tables, right? Which is more on the structured side of things. So the main idea behind this is that regardless if your data is unstructured or structured, this agent is able to figure out and find like where that data lives to be able to answer the question. Um, Please do play with it, have questions, come and come into the community where we can be able to talk. Martina's going to do a very interesting like conversation on how to be able to use them. And lastly, we have the prompt template where it's more like the system prompt. You're familiar to system prompts in other instances, but it's the main idea is like, how do we tell this agent what's inside the data, how to search, how to query, like, let's give them information so they can actually start really looking and answering data on your questions. And yeah, chat with your data, a couple more instances. Like after you create your agent, you can chat with it. Of course, we have the select answer from my agent, which is just our normal SQL way to be able to answer, get questions from your agent programmatically. So you can use that directly. Or quick reminder, you can always go to the respond tab, which is this little thing here on the open source to start chatting with the agent just creating and getting to that perspective. All right, somebody timed me up. It was like 10 minutes. So not bad, 20 slides in 10 minutes. Thanks, everybody. Quick reminder to also join our community, have any conversations or questions, put them in the chat. I'll try to answer them as Martina does the demo.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alejandro. As Alejandro mentioned, if you have any questions for him, please put that in the chat or in the Q&A tab. Right, so now what you guys have been waiting for. Martina, I'm going to give over to you to do the demo.
Thank you, Chandra. Hi, everyone. So let's take it for a spin. Thank you, Alejandro, for diving into details and presenting all of the things I'm going to demo, actually. So let me start by sharing my screen.
I got you covered, Martina.
Thank you, as always. Okay. So the Gong is the new data integrations that we have available within MindsDB. It's a platform for analyzing the interactions with customers, be it emails, calls, or meetings. So it's a useful tool that orders the unstructured data, and then we can further use this data within MindsDB to make the most out of it. So I have already connected our Gong integration using the required parameters, and then we can use the show tables comment within MindsDB to see what are the available tables like calls, users, analytics, and transcripts. So now having this data, you can see this data is in a tabular format. This is all that is handled by the Gong handler that we have within MindsDB. Now I'm going to take this data and insert it into the knowledge base, which will essentially embed some parts of this data to make the search process easier, to get more accurate data, to get data that users are asking for, essentially. So taking this calls table, I am going to create a knowledge base, and you can see that my statement to create a knowledge base is more lightweight. And the reason being that you can see the embedding model, re-ranking model parameters are not here because I have defined those in the settings. So when you go to settings of MindsDB editor and models, you can define the default model, the re-ranking model, and embedding model so that you don't need to define them every time you create a knowledge base. So now I can go ahead and create a knowledge base just by defining the columns. Also, I'm not defining the storage. I'm using the default ChromaDB here. And I'm defining the columns for ID column. This is also an optional component, but it's good to have. So I'm defining the call ID to be the ID that identifies a unique source data rows, because within the knowledge base, if the data row contains a lot of data, it is then chunked into multiple rows. So with this ID, we can track it back to the source data record. Then as for content, these are the columns that will be actually embedded. So here I'm embedding the title of each call. And for metadata columns, I'm using the date, duration, and call type that you can see here as well. So let me execute this command to create a knowledge base. Okay, and initially the knowledge base is empty. You can see in the navigation tree, there is a calls KB that I have just created, and you can see there is a ChromaDB that was automatically created with the knowledge base that stores the embeddings essentially. So having that, I'm going to insert this data from the calls table into the knowledge base. And here, if you have like tens of thousands of data, it is recommended to use the partitioning, which is also detailed in our documentation. Here, there were not too many records, so I just inserted without partitioning. And now I can query this knowledge base, and you can see here that the embedded part, the embedded chunks are visible here. Then we have metadata, and then by the end, we have the relevance distance, which will be calculated as we query for data. So as of now, these have stored null values. So now let's see the ways we can query the knowledge base. So first we have the semantic search, which essentially takes the query of the user, here being demo day. It embeds it into embeddings representation, and then searches it against the knowledge base that stores embedded content as well. So that's how the semantic search works. So if I query the knowledge base, providing this content, yeah, you can see I've got all the calls being demo day. And note that by default, when querying knowledge base, there is a limit of 10 records being returned. So to have more, you could increase the limit to as many as you want. Next, we've got metadata filtering. So here, duration is one of the metadata columns, so we can directly filter like you do with any other in any other SQL query. So filtering the duration. So here you can see in metadata, the last field is the duration, which is 1400, 2000, etc. So now I want the duration to be greater than 3000. So that is an example of metadata filtering. So again, I got this demo day, matching my search query, and now the duration, all duration is over 3000. Next, we have also relevance filtering. So when querying the knowledge base, for each result, there is a relevance score calculated, and it is explained in the documentation as well how it is being calculated. It is done on the flight for each of the records. So every time you run even the same statement, there may be like 0.00001 difference between the relevance values, because these are calculated on the flight, in the flight when running the query, every time when running the query. So here we've got relevance 0.9, 0.7, 0.6, 0.4. So now I'm going to filter this relevance to have only the values with relevance greater than 0.6. So here you can see one of the records was cut. There are 9 records now. And finally, there is the hybrid search feature. So hybrid search combines semantic search and keyword search. So semantic search being, it takes the user's query, embeds it, and search it against the embeddings of the knowledge base stored within the knowledge base. And keyword search, it takes the exact keyword and finds the exact keyword in the content of the knowledge base. So sometimes when you're when you want to find some, for example, company specific acronyms or shortcuts or codes, IDs, the keyword search is better, because this kind of company specific acronyms, it's not something that the embedding model was trained on. That's the reason why it would not be able to find it without this keyword search. So here we have this alpha parameter. I think it was already said that when you give it a value, this alpha parameter is essentially, so when hybrid search works, we have the results returned from semantic search, and we have the results returned from keyword search. And then we are re-ranking these results to bring the most relevant ones in the top part of the answer. So here, this alpha parameter defines which search we want to emphasize on. If the value is closer to 1, then the emphasis on the semantic search. If the value is closer to 0, its emphasis is on the keyword search. And then the limit, also I mentioned, you can limit the number of results being returned. So just running the entire query. So this is one of the knowledge bases, and now I'm going to follow the same steps to create a knowledge base for another table. This could be done in a single knowledge base, depending on how you want to group your data. In this case, I'm going for creating 2 knowledge bases and then connecting 2 knowledge bases to a single agent. So here, let me query this. That's the analytics table from the Gong handler. And here we we create a knowledge base with ID column being call ID again, and content columns are topics, means the topics that were in the call or meeting, and emotions means the generated sentiment of the meeting, tone of the meeting. So these are the 2 columns I'm going to use as the content of this knowledge base. So these 2 will be embedded. And then sentiment score is a metadata column, which stores just the sentiment calculated by AI. So let me create this. And again, this is empty, and you can see another knowledge base in the left-hand side here, another ChromaDB. I'm also using the default one. And now I can insert data into this knowledge base from the Gong handler. Now when I query it, yeah, you can see there is ID from the source data. There is also chunk ID that stores some unique identifier plus the name of the column that is present in this chunk content piece. How many chunks are there? So here we have 1 of 1. So this row was not chunked because it does not store so much too much of data. So it's a single chunk, and then number of characters in the chunk. So that's the chunk ID within the knowledge base. And here again, we can use the semantic search, metadata filtering, and all the other features I've shown in the previous query. So here I'm searching for next steps where interactivity is above 8.5. Yeah, so the top results match the query. That's good. Okay, so now having these two knowledge bases, I'm going to create an agent that connects to these knowledge bases. I could also provide tables directly to an agent, but I opted for knowledge bases because knowledge bases facilitate a more accurate search than just using tables alone. So I'm using the knowledge bases here, and in the prompt template, we always advise users to provide the data description, means what was being passed in the data parameter. And here also the model parameter is not provided in the statement because I have defined the default model in the settings, as I showed you before. So I have just data, and the prompt template that has data description and some further instructions can be also included in the prompt template. So I'm going to create the agent, and now I can just ask questions. For example, how many calls have we had? So here the agent has some internal tools for querying knowledge bases, tables, to bring the accurate answer. So we've got this many calls. What else? We can also ask something like, what are the highest and lowest values of the interactivity and patience levels? So let's see how long this will take. Okay, so that's the answer. And finally, let's also ask a more heavy duty question, I would say. Well, like, what call categories can be created based on call titles? So here the agent needs to actually analyze all the calls to be able to group it into, to define the groups that feed all of the available calls. So this may take a bit longer. Okay, here we go. So that is all for the demo. You can find all information on knowledge bases and agents in our documentation. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Martina. Really appreciate that. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to type them out or raise your hand so that we can use Zoom's option to allow you to talk. Martina, quick question. Is the docs available for Gong yet? And can we share the GitHub docs in the meantime?
I'm searching. 1 second. So I think at the moment, let's share the GitHub handler docs. These were not published in our documentation yet, so I'll share it here shortly.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a question. Can agents work with hybrid search?
So that is a very good question. Our current agents do not use hybrid search or the hybrid search alpha. They're only just going to be able to use standard knowledge-based search under that perspective. However, agents do play a little bit of around with SQL algebra and like try to be able to understand like what's the best way to find the data, since they do have a process to understand like how the knowledge base is structured.
Amazing. Thank you, Alejandro. Well, if you'd like to know more about updates in MindsDB, we recently published a release notes blog to update everyone as to what the latest updates is in MindsDB. I will share it with you in a second. Just share it here. Amazing. Okay. Our next question is, what is the default alpha?
So
It's gonna be,
I can take.
yeah, go Martina.
So it's short answer, it's 0.5 because the available values for hybrid search alpha are actually from 0 to 1. And we don't want to by default emphasize on either semantic search or keyword search. That's why the default value is 0.5.
Okay. Another question from Jaya. If we have two separate databases, can agents identify which system data it has to hit based on the question?
Yes, so that was pretty much also presented in my demo. I had two knowledge bases. I was asking question, and actually it's a good question. Based on the prompt template that you provide to an agent, this is something that helps an agent decide that if the question is about sentiment of the call, it will have information that sentiment of the call is stored in the analytics underscore KB. So it will know which knowledge base to query to get the data. So this is something you can provide and tune in the prompt template.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay, I do not see any other questions in our chat. However, if you do think about any questions that you would like to ask, feel free to pop a message in our questions channel. I would like to thank Alejandro and Martina for presenting and showcasing demos. And I also want to thank everyone who joined today. We really appreciate it. If you would like, you can join us next time, next month, in our MindsDB in Practice webinar, where we will demo and showcase the latest updates in our product. Once again, thank you everyone for joining. Have yourself a lovely weekend. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.